How about them Jackets? 24-21, Georgia Tech knocks off Florida State. Hey, look, I had my doubts. Some people didn't. Some people did. The national media didn't think they could do it. But Georgia Tech goes into Dublin. They stun number 10 Florida State. And folks, don't get it wrong. They didn't just squeak by with a win. They really controlled, dictated anything they wanted to do in this football game. Ralph, go ahead and cue up that theme song. We're talking Georgia Tech here on Swarm Talk on the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Coon.
Welcome in. My name is Bryce Coon, Swarm Talk, and man, we just had a great, awesome watch party, and not even 10 minutes later, we're back here. We're going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to give you my reaction. I'm going to give you a lot of different things. People are saying, welcome to the bandwagon. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. We wanted Tech to win this game. I had my doubts, and I don't think I'm just going to say this right off the bat. If you thought that you knew this was going to happen, you need to go seek psychiatric help. No one in their right mind actually knew without a shadow of a doubt that they thought this was going to happen. There are certain things happen. Every single question that we asked over the past 5, 6, 7 days about this football game were legitimate things. The biggest thing right here, though, is that they answered it with a resounding yes. They can not only compete, they can go beat these teams. This is amazing. This is a foundation building win, not only just in terms of what you can do as a program, but in terms you prove you belong. You have accelerated your timeline. You've accelerated your timeline up 2 or 3 steps with this win. You can now go compete for an ACC title. And what does that mean? Also a playoff spot as well. And look, Florida State's not Florida State, typically in what they have been. That's fine. We're going to talk about that. But you got to beat the team in front of you, and Georgia Tech did that. So do not let anyone take this win, away from you. This was a statement win for Brent Key as a head coach. This is not one that Georgia Tech backed into. They dictated on the lines of scrimmage what they wanted to do. If you watch the watch along, we talked about that the entire time. This is unbelievable. I mean, I think that Georgia Tech's offensive line impressed me the most. I thought they were going to be good, but I thought Florida State was going to be really too tough to handle. That, to me, is an unbelievable win in Dublin, a top 10 victory, no matter how you shake it. It doesn't matter if Florida State goes 7-5 this year. You beat them when they were a top 10 team. That is a top 10 win no matter what. My name is Bryce Coon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're hanging out with us. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this, too. My daughter might be a genius. My daughter might be an absolute genius. We doing call-ins? Huge win for Tech? Yes. Oh, we're doing call-ins. We're going to open up that phone line. I wanted to just quickly give my thoughts on this. This game wasn't explosive, okay? But Haynes King and Georgia Tech showed us last year they can be explosive. This was an avalanche, and the avalanche that we talked about on our show, the avalanche that was talked about nationally was the run game of Florida State. This was Georgia Tech's offense, snowball effect, continuing to stack good play after good play like we talked about they needed to if they wanted to get this upset win. They did it, and they did it with relative ease at times. You talk about maybe not having the big explosive play, but when you needed to get the play done, you did it. Love this. Absolutely love this. This is a massive, massive win. This is unbelievable. I absolutely love this win. This is the type of win that catapults a program into a different stratosphere. Love this. Your daughter is a genius and a future honorary GT scholar. She might be. She honest to God might be. So this is awesome. Absolutely love this. We are going to really talk about this game. This is nuts. And like I said, all the questions coming into this game were legitimate questions because on paper, Florida State looked to be the better football team. And for one day, one Saturday in August, Georgia Tech said, no, we're the better program. So this is something to me. And Zach, you say this. Let them know, Bryce, you called it. I picked Florida State to win. I picked them to cover too. That's not a crazy thing. Now, the fan bases are going to take this in absolute nuts scenarios with this, but this is awesome. This is an unbelievable win. I absolutely love this. My phone's blowing up because this is so much fun. This is amazing. Brian says, happy early birthday. What a good present for us. Let's go Georgia Tech and going to win the ACC. You have one of the biggest wins notched under your belt now on this schedule. And man, I think Florida State's defense is good, but you proved in crunch situations you could get the play done, you could execute, and that's one of the biggest things. Like, that's hands down one of the biggest things. So absolutely love this. Love this win. Love this matchup. It's this is fun. This is a lot of fun. I'll also say this too. They dominated, did what they wanted to with Florida State's defensive line. And Montega has a point here. 200 rushing yards against the best D-line in the nation. Austin Bodley, I'm not answering the phone call until we open up the phone lines. Yeah, no, you did. This was perceived as preseason being one of the best D-lines in the nation. We didn't say that. We thought it was I thought it was good. But I told you, they had some edge rushers, but they really didn't have interior guys like they had with Braden Fisk last year. So if you're going to have success, you're going to run in the middle, and they did. They controlled it. They controlled the lines of scrimmage. I think that this was the ascension of a program into the upper echelon of the conference. This is the one you needed. Now, you're going to have to, you're going to have to stack good days. Ramblin's got a fantastic point here. If we take care of the next 3, we go into Louisville ranked. Thanks for the donation there. I am really, really excited because I really do believe this could be the start of something special here in 2024. I mean, there's no reason to not think there's no reason to not believe this team can't go to Charlotte. And you get there. I think Clemson's probably more talented. I think Miami should be more talented. We'll see. Who knows? But you just beat one of the perceived top teams in the conference. Massive, massive web. Subscribe to the channel. Breaking Florida State to the Sun Belt. Ralph says he doesn't want them. He don't want them there. He doesn't want Florida State there. They're not good enough. This is a lot of fun. Getting pictures of people watching the show from outside. This is awesome. Shout out to the crew and all those people watching. All right, we're going to open up the phone lines here in just a second, but I did want to get to this last part here. Brent Key. Look, you can sit here and do what you want to say, what you want to say, and look. In hindsight, obviously everything looks like Brent Key should have been the hire. Brent Key is the guy. Like, Brent Key is that dude for this team. He is absolutely the right hire. He absolutely is the guy that needs to be leading this program, not just for this year, but for years coming up. Josh Pittman spending that UPS money saying FSU to the MAC. But to my point here, we questioned it. And the process of questioning things early on is there. You don't eliminate. You don't say, hey, he's not the right person, or hey, this is not going to happen. I told you the 3 likely scenarios coming for me personally. What I thought in this game was 1, I thought Florida State would win. 2, Georgia Tech would win. 3, it'd be a blowout either way. Did not think it was that. Let's also talk about this before we open the phone lines. Tyler Santucci has this defense playing on a stratosphere that has not been seen in a long time in terms of playing fast and physical, playing free, knowing your assignments, and not just knowing where you need to be, but being in that right spot, and also executing when you're there. Look at a question. Are they going to have the dudes to do this week in, week out? We'll have to see. That's the glory and the beauty of watching this sport. What I'm going to sit here and tell you here, though, on August 24th is that for one Saturday, they went up against one of the perceived top teams, not just in this conference, but in the country, and they answered it with a resounding yes. Is Will hiding? Dude, Will went back to work. He called his boss. He said, I got to go back in. So I'm excited. Will, we're going to get you on here real quick because I do want to ask you, just to your point here, you never sat here and said that Georgia Tech wasn't going to be good. The questions that you asked all week, Will, were valid questions. Georgia Tech just answered it resoundingly.
Yeah, I mean, what we said for weeks, the question mark was going to be on the lines of scrimmage. That was my biggest question, and to say that Georgia Tech answered the bell is an understatement. I mean, I talked about continuity for Florida State's offensive line. I talked about the great transfer class that Florida State brought in on the defensive line. But these guys from Georgia Tech, they don't rotate. They don't have that many dudes. I think they played, 6, 7, maybe 8 guys on the defensive line the whole game. But they got after it and just flat dominated. They wanted it more, and they kept it up for 4 quarters, which was a surprise to me. I said it during the watch along at halftime. I was like, I wonder, can Georgia Tech keep it up? And they did. It's like you said, they answered every question with a resounding passing grade, A+, which is what Georgia Tech students are used to getting, is A+, because they're smarter than everybody else. And, to your point about Tyler Santucci, I mean, this guy, the turnaround that he's been able to do, I know it's been one game and it's still really early, but this was a completely different defense. The only time they really started breaking down, and I said it during the watch along, was on that long drive Florida State converted on 4th down, converted on 3rd down. They weren't as aggressive. This is going to be an aggressive defense. They showed today that's when they're at their best, just pinning their ears back, getting in the backfield. They did it all game long, and Florida State did not have an answer for it.
Yeah, and for the people who saying that we hated all week, no, we asked legitimate questions. Georgia Tech answered, and we didn't think they'd be answered, but we were wrong. And I can't stress enough that I'm glad we're wrong. And I'm gonna tell you one thing, and Will, this is something too that I was gonna say next Saturday is gonna be unfreaking believable. If you don't know already, we're gonna be on campus for a show. We got many different types of giveaways, including tickets we're gonna be giving away to the game. You need to be there. 2:00, the tailgate starting on the 5th Street Bridge. Make sure you check out. All right, Will, I do appreciate
y'all gotta be there. Y'all got to be there Saturday. I've never been inside Bobby Dodd. You gotta get it right. You gotta bring the juice, bring the environment. You got to bring it for me. I need. I don't
care that it's Georgia State. This perceived little, pack it out. Pack Bobby Dodd out. Show this team that meant something to you as a fan. It's gonna be awesome. Here we go. That's awesome. Jason says, "What did Addie know?" The amount of I got a text message from several of my coworkers at 24/7 and CBS, and they said the amount of degenerates that are going to be following my daughter in terms of picking games is going to be ridiculous. We got to get her own account. We're going to set up the LLC. Well, we'll be fine. But hey, nuts. Will, thanks for stopping in to let the people talk to you. And look, we were wrong, and we're glad to be wrong. We're glad to be wrong. Like, this was awesome. This was so much fun, and we can't wait for next week. Okay, let's go. All right, appreciate you, Will. So here we go. We're going to dive into these phone lines. I'm scared. I'm a tad bit nervous. You can go ahead and hammer the phone lines here, 225-317-9613. I'm going to need to open this up, and you're just going to have to give me a second, because I imagine as soon as we get this thing rolling, 266 people watching live. I was told no one watched us anymore. Couldn't be me. All I know, So that's what I got to say about it. So let's go back to this. We don't want to see that. Open up the phone lines. You can call in 225-317-9613. We got a call Colorado. It says Colorado. I got 50 calls coming in. We're gonna whoever this is. What's up, friend? What's your name? Where are you from?
Me versus Echo Chamber. I live in Denver, Colorado.
Awesome. Florida State fan, am I right?
Yeah, yep. Florida State fan. I'm originally from Tallahassee, but I moved here to CU for college years ago, and I stayed. But I followed the Noles, and I want to call in. Great game. I was following you guys the whole game. There's a few things that I kind of want to give Georgia Tech credit for, and just call it some schematics that I saw. And it's not going to be long, maybe a couple minutes, and that's it. First and foremost, I think. When I look at Brent Key, I see Ed Orgeron, but the Georgia Tech version. He's not the traditional kind of coach kind of vibe, but you can tell he cares for the players. He cares for the school. And I think the school and the recruits they get kind of feed off that, which is kind of nice for Georgia Tech. And I think he's good at picking the right coordinators. And more importantly, the Santucci's defense is great. I think they are attacking more than I saw Georgia Tech attack last year. And I think, honestly, I think they out-schemed Florida State. Florida State kind of lined up. We're going to run at them. And to combat that, it looks like Georgia Tech had 2-3 linebackers at the line of scrimmage, and they just attacked the slow developing plays. And a lot of times, the running backs are stopped behind the line of scrimmage. I think in the future, the only thing Georgia Tech has to watch out for is the middle of the field. Play action pass over the middle of the field. When Florida State did that, they were successful most of the time. So hopefully next week Santucci kind of switches it up. But great job for Georgia Tech. Great. Hopefully they get ranked next week. But you know how the media goes. They don't believe anything out of the ACC unless it's Florida State, Clemson, or Miami. But a great game. Thanks for allowing me to speak on your platform, Bryce. It's my first time here, and I'll probably be back next week.
Yeah, man. And hey, look, I appreciate it. We obviously have a Georgia Tech arm that we do on this show, but we talk college football on Mondays and Wednesdays nights at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, and we'd love to have you because we'll definitely be talking about the Noles and college football as a whole going forward.
So thank you, Bryce. And I'm a fan of Florida State, but I like watching schematics, like sets and counter, adjustments. And I will say this too before I leave. I think I mentioned during the halftime show, just watching the game, I didn't think Georgia Tech had to adjust much, and it looked like schematically they stayed the same. They put different peoples in different places, and Florida State just never really adjusted defensively.
Yeah,
they just stayed in a non-pressure type defense, and that really hurt them. Looks like the footing for the Florida State defensive line, it looked like they were scared to kind of move and be agile because Haynes King was beating like fast linebackers to the corner, which is kind of odd because those linebackers are real deal fast. It just they seem a tad bit slow versus Georgia Tech. So have no idea where that came from. Maybe, the Florida State guys will let us know, tomorrow or next week. But shout out to Georgia Tech for playing an amazing game, and hopefully that they win it all.
I appreciate it. I appreciate, man, you tuning in. And who knew that the first caller on the phone line was going to be a Florida State fan? But, man, that good sport. And, man, I think Tech fans and everyone can respect where you're coming from.
Yep. You guys have a good one.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Hey, that was a great call. Great call and a new fan of the show right there. And the phone line going to keep rolling. We got another caller in here. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bryce, what's going on, buddy? My name is William. I'm originally from Atlanta, but I live in Myrtle Beach now.
Oh, okay. All right. Live in the Myrtle Beach. How you feeling, William, after that big dub?
Bryce, can we take a second to give a shout out to Haynes King not throwing any interceptions today? Absolutely phenomenal on the offensive line. I mean, just an all-around great game. We didn't panic. I'm just super proud of this team. Absolutely incredible.
Look, man, I'm what do we have here? We got people just blowing up my phone. I don't know why I attached to my phone. No, listen, we said it on the watch along, okay? We said it hasn't been explosive, but he's made good decisions. That's been the biggest thing. And that's what can happen. He doesn't have to be, throwing for 400 yards or 350 yards. You go win a football game, no one cares how you do it.
Right. Yeah, and I'm telling you, with Santucci and everything going on with this defense, I'm telling you, my dad played for Tech back in the 70s, and just to see where the program has transformed from since the bullcrap Jeff Collins era is just absolutely phenomenal. I love this team, and I love what Coach Key's doing.
Well, man, I challenge the fans next Saturday. We're going to be there. Bobby Dodd needs to be
back. I'm coming. Oh, yeah. I'll be coming from Myrtle Beach. I haven't missed a home game in 10 years, so we'll be there.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll see you at the tailgate. Hey, I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. That's a big-time call. We got another one on the line. Where are you calling from, and what is your name?
Oh, you know who this is. This is TriStar, son.
Oh, Daddy. What you got for us, TriStar?
I've been telling everybody, and they don't want to listen. And they're like, oh, you don't know nothing. You're a closet Tech fan. No, I'm a Tennessee guy. As you know, I cover the University of Tennessee, and I watched the game. I'm out here in, I guess you can say, halfway decent Summerville, Georgia, right now, currently.
Just outside of beautiful Rome, Georgia, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it's over the mountain from Rome.
Yeah.
But Man, I watched that game, and that looked like a well-rounded team. I mean, was it perfect? No, but it looked like a team that it doesn't matter who it is, they're going to play to the very end, and they're not going to be in give-up mode. And I don't think it's necessarily that Florida State's a bad team. Like, everybody's writing off Florida State. I'm like, no, I still think they're a pretty good team. It's just, I think maybe Tech is, just like I said, one of your teams to watch along with Nebraska.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that.
And I'm still standing on business. You know, y'all will always be an SEC team. I know y'all have that ACC patch, but y'all will eventually be back home in the SEC. And who knows? You don't know who you might see down there one day for an SEC game.
Hey, I love it. I love it, TriStar. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks so much, and we'll get you in the phone lines, obviously during the week as well.
Of course, you know I'm always available for content.
All right, brother, I appreciate it. All right, we're moving on to the next caller because they are just filing in. We've got another caller on the line. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dr. Bob calling in from East Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana.
Have you picked up the canes, or are you headed to my house? That's all I need to know.
All you need to know, as soon as this show is over, you message me in the Discord. I will pick up the canes tonight, and we will celebrate. I almost got heat stroke talking with all of my tech friends out here in the East Baton Rouge Parish Sun after the game, and didn't realize how hot it was getting. So I'm now back inside, cooling off. Glad to see that what I saw Tyler Santucci do to Clemson last year in week 1 on Labor Day night translate to our program as well. And the run game for Brent Key, I mean, just the offensive line to me is the MVP of this game. Like, you just took the life out of Florida State at the end.
I like it. I like it. No, you look, you literally beat the life out of them. I mean, that's why I keep telling people, like, they have to understand in this game, there's not really an excuse. Yeah, you can talk about DJU wasn't electric, but he didn't lose you the football game. You know, Georgia Tech beat you in this game. I mean, that's the biggest thing. The biggest battle that was won to me was Florida State's defense unable to corral Georgia Tech's offense, because that was the national narrative. And look, we leaned into that a little bit here on our show. But man, I think that's a massive undertaking in terms of what comes on your schedule. If you can do that against these guys, who I still think, and like TriStar just said, it's still a really good defense, then man, like, you know, it really opens up the door of possibilities.
How about Keelan Rutledge with the play of the game, jumping on that fumble around all those Florida State defenders?
I don't know how he got it, man. I don't know how he got it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you go, Bryce, so you can talk to others. Like I said, if you want canes tonight, you just let me know and message me, and I'll get some.
I love it. I love it.
All right, see you, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, hey, Ralph and Will, you're going to have to man the phone lines real quick. I've got to step aside here. This is going to be hilarious. But you can't. I'll answer the phone, but I can't do anything about it other than that. I do believe this is Justin Klingle calling in, so we're about to get this interesting right here.
Oh,
I'm so scared.
Yeah,
I'm so scared.
All right.
All right. What's your name and where you calling from? Y'all handle it. I'm stepping aside.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I don't think they can hear us.
I don't think they can hear us either.
What's your name and where you calling from?
Is he just not there? All right, so new caller. Let's go.
Let's roll it in there. I hate this. No one, they just hung up, so I don't know. They got to put the phone to
Well, if you don't call, I'm gonna be very upset with you.
Yep, call the show.
Yeah, call the show.
Even though
we can't answer the phone line, so.
And we can't answer it either. So I don't know.
I guess we're
Bryce, you're gonna have to give us the link or the login or something.
I can answer it. I can answer it. I'm here. I'm just not in the show.
Oh.
Well, answer the call.
Who we got?
Hey, tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Zach Jones, Austell, Georgia.
Zach Jones.
All right, Zach, let him know. Let a naysayer know.
Can he hear it? Zach, can you hear us?
Man, hey,
Only if he's on
this
the
is the best
watching.
offense in the ACC. I just want to say that right now. I don't care what anybody says. Best offense in the ACC.
I mean, yeah, it's been one game. You've
You're the
scored
only
more
team
points than
that's
any other
played.
team in the ACC.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know if you're listening to the shows that we can't. I don't know if you can hear us at all. Yeah, you just hung up.
Yep,
So,
he hung up. Yeah, so
all right, so we're gonna stop the calls for a second.
yeah, we got it.
Right now, wait till Bryce gets back to answer the phone lines again. We're sorry. Obviously, Bryce isn't playing this very well. We can't answer the phones. People just can't hear us.
We're here. We're here. Don't show the numbers.
Don't show the numbers. Stop doing it.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bryce. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Who is this?
Drippy.
You say is it Justin?
Can you hear me? It's Drippy.
We can hear you. Say something.
Anyway, it's Drippy. Justin Kringle.
Yeah, there it is.
GJU is ass. Florida State is ass, right?
Y'all really Bryce is
great show.
Y'all
Great game.
just talk.
It's how college football games should go. I'm happy about it. Should have been better. Great game. Great show. Appreciate you guys. You guys say Florida State
Hey, look, yeah, that's great.
DJU's
We're gonna
ass.
hang up on you. You just call back. Okay, look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Thanks, Justin.
Here's the
All
deal.
right,
Can you hear me?
numbers.
Give me
Yeah.
10 minutes. We'll open back up the phone lines. Okay.
All right. All right, we will take over here right now. Will, we had a comment. I think Maxwell is the one who put in there. Give us your thoughts. We'll start with you, Will. Actually, you already said your piece earlier.
I did.
I guess I'll go with mine. Look, I said it earlier this week that if you wanted to win this game, you had to keep the ball out of Florida State's hands. You had to limit their time of possession. And Justin, to answer your question, we can hear you, but you can't hear me and Will talk. Bryce is out of the show. We will open the phone lines back up when he returns. So right now, just bring your comments in here if you want to ask questions. Will and I will answer them for the time being. Haynes King limited the turnovers. 0 turnovers. Obviously, he has the 2 fumble snaps. Got him back, though. Didn't really, put you in a position where you were able to lose a game, obviously. And, your whole offense showed up. All O-line played amazing. No sacks. Get Haynes King clean back there. I questioned some of the quarterback design runs. Ones that went for a loss, obviously. But the QB draw, though, that went for a first down was a big play. I thought the defense played great. Romello Height, obviously, Will. He had an incredible game. Stats don't really show how great defensive players really are. And you can have as many sacks as you want during the season, but if you're able to cause problems in the backfield for an offense, you are a dominant defender. And, I think Tech, the first drive, it looked awful. I think the defense would get pushed back. I was kind of worried for Tech. That's what we said was going to happen, though, is Florida State was going to come out and just trying to run it down your throat, and that's what they did. And Georgia Tech, obviously, Tyler Santucci made some incredible halftime adjustments, and it helped you win the game here. And that's what it's always said. I always say those the halftime adjustments is the main part of a game. If you can't adjust to anyone's what they've been doing offensively or defensively at halftime, you can't coach college football. I mean, we saw a coach that led Auburn for a few years or 2 years and never made halftime adjustments.
But hey, just watch, right?
Yeah.
To your point about the quarterback runs and stuff, I think those were just option plays. And that's what Georgia Tech's going to do. They're going to run read option. They're going to give Haynes King the opportunity to make the decision to pull the ball down and run it. And he did it a ton in the second half. And I said it, I think on that final drive that he pulled it on, I think it was a 3rd down and got the first down. I said he is putting the team on his back. And that's what you want to see out of your quarterback. It was a just complete, and it doesn't say it on the scoreboard, but if you watch the game, it was pretty much a beatdown by Georgia Tech. They lived in Florida State's backfield the whole game. The offense, Georgia Tech's offensive line did a really, really good job. There was a lot for both teams to clean up, though. I said it during the game multiple times that Florida State was getting penetration. They were getting in the backfield, but it looked like they were overrunning every play, and they continued to do it over and over and over and over again. And then Buster Faulkner hits them with quarterback draw in the third quarter and really exploited that, and they had a lot of space to run into. But the speed of Haynes King, the speed of Jamal Haynes, they really took advantage of Florida State overrunning a lot of plays, getting past the line of scrimmage, but not being able to make a play. They did a really great job taking advantage of that. And we talked about weather being a factor. The weather had a lot to do with this, but I said it leading up in the shows leading up to this game. To pull off an upset, especially when you're a double-digit underdog, you got to make the game ugly. And Georgia Tech did that. The weather played a part in that. There was really no downfield passing game from either team. But Georgia Tech won on the line of scrimmage. I mean, you said it. Romello Height was living in the backfield, got to DJU multiple times. Just a huge, huge building block. I saw Brian Watson said it, big for recruiting for Georgia Tech. He's exactly right. I mean, Georgia Tech has so much momentum on the recruiting trail coming into the season. You just get a couple big wins. This one is going to pay huge dividends in recruiting for not just the 2025 class, but of course the 2026 and beyond as well. Just a dominating performance by Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and to go back to Brian's comment, obviously big for big recruiting. Obviously, every team who gets those big wins throughout the season, obviously it goes. Brent Key's gonna sit there and tell you, we just went against the number 10 team in the country, and everyone had everyone doubted us. We just won. We're not afraid to play anybody. We're gonna play big teams. We're gonna play in big games. That's why you come here. Matt, I agree. I agree.
That's right.
I said it at the beginning of the show. I said, to start the drive off, I said, Tech fans, tell me how you would feel if Florida State did exactly what we said and, go downfield, drive downfield all day, all on you right now, the first drive and score. And how would you feel about your defense at that point? And obviously they did that, but then Georgia Tech returned the favor and did the exact same thing.
Yeah, Georgia Tech really just seemed like they beat Florida State at their own game today. Mm-hmm. We thought Florida State was going to try to run the ball and just line up and run it against Georgia Tech. We all said it during the game. By that second quarter, once the game started to settle in and Florida State didn't change anything, it seemed like they thought they were just going to be able to line up and run it straight through Georgia Tech, and they couldn't do it. And, you got to give a ton of credit. I said it in the open of the post-game show. You got to give Tyler Santucci a lot of credit. I mean, this is a totally different defense from last year. I've seen a couple comments, the defense not a liability, holding Georgia Tech held Florida State to 90 rushing yards today. That would have never happened last year. The tackling was worlds better today than it was at any point last year. I mean, I know it's one game and it's early, but the turnaround that he's already showing defensively, I think it's going to put him up there for national awards at the end of the year.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the comment when you mentioned it earlier when you're talking there. Defense doesn't look like a liability right now. Proud of them in whole. Tristan Snipes. Look, Tristan, I agree. The big question mark for Georgia Tech this year wasn't the offense or O-line. It was, can the defense improve? And obviously they did. They showed up and they played their best game today. I mean, go back to last year when they had to go to shootouts to win games and win those big games, and it was good. I thought Trayford played great. Trayford, why I said that? That was a former receiver at Troy. I think Eford played well. Romello Height played well. Amari Harvey, man, I think someone said in the early comments, was the best Auburn transfer on the field.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. There was a lot of them for both teams.
I know. Amari Harvey played great. Last year, what we thought Amari Harvey would do, we thought he'd be okay. Just good enough. But dude, he showed up straight out there and balled out. Honestly, they had some great open field tackles, made some plays in the secondary. played a great game. Props to him. Props to Santucci working with him and this entire secondary and this entire defense in this year, and just showing them why they got better.
Yeah. Go to Matt's comment here. He says, of course, the run game was big for GT this game, but I feel like they were a little reserved on the pass game, but that's okay. Yeah, like I said, I think the weather, the field conditions had a lot to do with that. Evidently, Matt, I think you said the field was slick. It was not good conditions out there to pass the ball. I think that was part of it. And then also, you can't ignore the fact that Haynes King led the ACC in interceptions last year. So leaning more on the run game, I think, is going to have to be important for Georgia Tech in every game. And, if your defense is better, you don't have to throw it as much. I think that has a lot to do with the amount of interceptions he threw, trying to force it downfield to throw to get his team back in the game. This looks like a much better Georgia Tech team than the 2023 team. So, I don't think Tech will have to throw it as much. But to me, about Haynes King today, what really stood out was just the leadership, taking it on himself, pulling it on options and running it himself, not being afraid of contact. Did it multiple times, and he had a couple runs where he really showed off his speed. I mean, his legs, we talked about it a ton. It's a weapon, and it was on full display today, and they needed it today, and they got enough of it to get the win.
Yeah. Any more questions for anyone? Any more comments? Obviously, we've given both our breakdown to the game. Bryce gave his earlier. When he returns, he will open up the phone lines again, I'm sure.
I'll tell you what, Bryce, he better hurry up because Jonesy's getting.
I will say this. I know Bryce is probably exhausted right now. I know he was up a little early this morning. And sat through almost a 3.5 hour stream. Now we're doing a 30-minute stream. It's exhausting for a little bit. I can't lie. I'm a little tired too.
Yeah, Matt says Alexander seems like he'll be a key player at the running back position. He's tough. Yeah, he showed out. Bryce said it during the game. He's a walk-on, or at least former walk-on. With the injury to Cooley, him stepping up today was huge. He really showed he could be a good player. I said it. Georgia Tech on I think their second touchdown, they got down inside the 5, and he was in there and got a carry. I said, having a smaller guy like him, I think could really be key down in the red zone. Being able, and we saw him bounce off some blocks, holes, close up quickly. He's able to spin out and get outside and make a positive play. He really showed that he can play, and that's really good, showing the depth that Georgia Tech has at the running back position. I think that was a bit of a worry because you knew what you had in Haynes and Cooley, but if something happens to one of those two, what do you have behind them? Well, now you've got Alexander. You had a really great game.
Yeah, we don't know. I have not found anything on the injury.
Bryce gave a thumbs up. I think that means the injury he's good.
Oh, open the phone lines up.
Oh, okay. Gosh. You're muted. We don't hear you.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep, you're there.
Okay, perfect. LSU was getting a commit, and I don't know if I'm doing this, and I had to make sure we got that in the system. But hey, donate to the stream so we can just do this and not have to worry about that stuff anymore. 436 people live on 435. Hey, but we're going to open back up. You look 10 pounds lighter. You hear that? That was nice. Did you hear that? How bad is the Cooley injury? I'm not sure. I'm not there. Okay, we're opening back up the phone lines. So here we go. Get people's stuff. Opening back up the phone lines so you can talk about it and we can get it in. So call into the show. Walk and talk with us. Here we go. I did hear you guys talking about it. That's a massive, massive, massive win. I don't even have it open. That's the reason why it's going straight to voicemail. All right, here we go again. Yo, I just want to let you know something. I want you to guess how many missed calls I have on this 155. So here we go. All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jonesy, Bowden, Georgia.
All right, Jonesy. Talk with us. How you feeling?
All right. What's your name?
You got to turn the broadcast down, Jonesy. Come on. You ever call in to talk radio?
Oh! Woo! You gotta turn the broadcast down, Joe.
Hold on, I'm turning it down.
He's listening. He's not even listening to me on the phone. He's listening to me on the TV.
Hey, first thing I gotta say is I was wrong about. Look, can you hear me?
I'm here, baby. I can hear you.
Oh, it's weird. I'm watching. There's no sound on the TV.
Because you muted it, probably.
I muted it.
So what are
the
your
first thing I got to say, and I said I would say this, I was wrong about Brent Key. He is a football coach.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can deny that.
Agreed.
And I got to say this to Will. We're going to beat the hell out of Georgia State.
Dramatic pause.
Sorry. Too many waters today. Hey, I'm just excited, and I'm ready to meet all y'all next week. And we're just going to get this thing going as a Tech fan.
I love it. Hey, make sure you come out to the tailgate, Jonesy. Share with your friends and family. What a wild time. Thanks for calling in, brother.
All right.
I don't even know what just happened there. All right, we got another caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Vince. I'm in Central Virginia.
Vince. This is Virginia Vince. Called in a couple times this show. How you doing, brother?
Virginia Vince. What'd you say?
How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. I'm happy that Shanahan got a couple punts, get to play in front of his local fan base. I wasn't surprised at our success because when I broke it down in a Georgia Tech style spreadsheet the night before, I was like, I don't believe in some of these guys that they got coming in. They were a little bit weak in terms of experience. Yeah, they got fucking talent everywhere. Yeah, we're sorry about the F-bomb, but whatever. I know they lost their two guards on offense. I knew their Russian, Marcus Jr. great. He didn't do much last year. He did have a sack against us, and I knew their linebacker depth was kind of thin. So I was like, man, we can run on these guys. Like, I'm not surprised. I was gonna say in the chat 28-24, but we got the dub at 24-21. So I'm happy, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, man, this is a big win. I want to ask you this, Vince, before we get you off the line, because we got people just calling, and that's awesome. But wanted to ask you, does this reset an expectation? Does it further your expectation for this 2024 season? Or are you just saying, hey, enjoy the moment, take it week by week?
I think it shows it's as good as a lot of Tech fans thought the team was going to be, who are able to look at a team closely, because I know it's difficult when you're looking at a lot of teams to really kind of get in the nitty gritty, like statistics and everything. But this is right in line with my expectations. I think we're gonna have a lot of close games, so we could still end up in that kind of 6 to 7 win range. But I think I would love 8. I would love 8, and I'll let you go.
Yeah. No. Hey, Vince, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
Great job. Love you guys.
I love you too, Vince. I love you too. Wow, we got a lot of stuff happening going on. All right, we got another one here going on. Guys, I'm deleting this one. All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Glenn from Rome, Georgia.
Glenn, how are you feeling after that big dub?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm not surprised, but I'm good.
No, look, man, we said we wouldn't be surprised if this happened. It just didn't feel like the likeliest of outcomes. Vegas kind of backed that up, man, but it feels good to kind of sit here on a Saturday afternoon after a monumental win.
It is. It is. I'm in Alabama on some business, and I had to watch it from a hotel room, but I am really excited. Brent Key is the guy. He knows the school. He knows the culture that he wants to have. He learned from George O'Leary and Bobby Ross and Nick Saban, and you can tell it.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, Brent said that I got a good team. He said it with confidence, and I believed him.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes, no, I agree with you. And I wanted to ask you this before we get you out of here, man, because we got the phone lines just busting at the seams here today. Does this set your expectation, or is this more of, hey, take it week by week?
It doesn't reset my expectations. I've been a Tech fan for about 35 or 40 years, and I can just tell Brent is getting his players in there, just like O'Leary, those nasty linemen, aggressive. And I think you know this too. Tech is not going to catch anybody by surprise.
Yep.
Tech can beat anybody on that schedule. Let me ask your opinion to this. I know you're busy.
No, you're good.
Eric Singleton.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a play at the end for him to get that 8 or 10 yards that he got. People may not talk about it, but that was a hell of a play, and we've got to get the ball in his hands. He is some kind of player if we get in the ball enough.
Yeah, no, this is what I'll say on that. This was nobody popped off in terms of explosive plays, but everyone seemed to have a moment, and that was Singleton's moment. And everyone seemed to have just something that they really were able to. I guess the best way to say it is that a moment where they were able to step up and it counted. It mattered. So to your point in that, I think that this is it's exciting, man. It's exciting. Like you mentioned, this is something that it's just awesome to see, and it's fun to talk about. I mean, look, we've been doing this show right now for 4 years, and we've talked about some really, really tough losses. To be able not only to talk about this with the fans, be able to have almost close to 500 people watching live and being a part of this makes it even more fun. And look, I mean, we can all rally around the fact of that we may predict something, we may think something, but this beautiful game that we love, anything can happen. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday, and it's the white and gold that came out victorious this past Saturday.
Yeah, man, I want to say this about you and your team. If Tech can keep Brent and the coaches, in about 3 years, you're going to look back at what you're doing with your guys and like, dang, because Tech is going to, I think Brent is going to take it to a level that it hadn't been on in several years, and they're going to get a different fan base. They're going to compete. All of that kind of stuff, and basketball. I see it. I feel it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's a fun time to be a Tech fan. It really is. It really is. So, hey, we appreciate you calling in, brother. We would love to hear from you again throughout the week, but we're going to hop on to other calls, man. Thanks so much for calling in.
All right. Thank you.
And that's a great call. Great call. All right, we're going to keep just rocking and rolling here. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
Did I get through?
I think you got through, big dog. How you doing?
Yo, this is Austin from Atlanta.
Is that Midtown Atlanta or downtown Atlanta?
Midtown Atlanta.
Oh, okay, right there near campus. Walk me through. What's your reaction, my friend?
I mean, I think the question coming into it was, could Haynes King take care of the ball? And he did. I was very impressed. I think Georgia Tech, if they don't get that face mask, I think it was second quarter maybe when they blew straight through and got that face mask call. That's 28-14 Georgia Tech right there. Yeah. I mean, their defense played their butt.
Yeah, I agree with you. Austin. I mean, defense stepped up. It looks completely different than last year's defense.
I mean, again, that play right there when they got that face mask call, and Florida State went and drove down. I think they got a field goal out of the drive. That's right there. That's 28-14 Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech could have ran away with that game very easily.
Agreed.
I was very impressed with the way they handled the game. Brent Key did get cute there in I think it was last minute. I was a little scared because I had a $100 ticket on Georgia Tech money line. I was screaming at the TV, but them boys showed up. I think y'all said on the show, I mean, Florida State had the edge at every single position, but they played their butts off. I mean, I'm a believer now.
Y'all, I just want to let y'all know this is coming from a UGA grad. I know who this caller is, so this is some serious. This guy doesn't throw around.
Hey, I'm all over Georgia Tech over 5, and I needed that one.
Needed that one, big boy. Hey, you going to be at the tailgate next weekend?
I'll be at the tailgate.
Let's do it. I'll
call the dogs.
He said he's going to call the dogs at a Georgia Tech game. I absolutely love it. Appreciate you calling in, Austin. All right, we're rocking to the next caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
He said he's going to call the dogs.
Hello?
Hello? Is this
Hey,
Bryce?
welcome to the show.
Hey, this is Daniel from Miami, second-time caller. I called.
Oh,
Couple
my
years
boy
back when we beat UNC.
from South Beach. How you doing, friend?
Not exactly, a little bit more west, but and again today, very pleased with the team, very pleased with the defense. The tackling was great. The run fit better. We were blitzing safeties. I love it. So I'm definitely on a high right now.
I like it. I'll ask you this, and then we'll keep moving through the phone lines. Does it reset your expectations, or do you feel like this team just needs to take it week by week and not worry about that?
We need to take it week by week. First, opening games usually, sometimes they could be false. They could yield false positives, or false negatives. So I just want to take it a little bit slow.
I like it. I like it. Hey, take it week by week. Go win next week. Man, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the game. Thanks so much for calling in, and we'll get you on the phone lines next week when we preview that Georgia State game.
Perfect. Thanks, Bryce.
Appreciate it, brother. All right, let's keep rolling through. We got another caller on the line. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's El Diablo Blanco. I'm from Aiken, South Carolina.
Oh, from Aiken. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. Hey, I thought it was huge in that first quarter. Florida State comes down, gets that touchdown, made us look like it was the same old defense. That swinging gate 2-point play. And then the rain comes, and Haynes King just balled out. I mean, that drive was amazing. You agree?
Oh, I agree. I think that the ability to answer, this is the thing, and we said this on the watch along show that we did. Florida State came out and punched Georgia Tech in the mouth. Old Georgia Tech would have staggered, taken a couple steps. This team got right back in the fight and said, "No, we're not this Georgia Tech team that people think we are. This is a different brand of Georgia Tech." And I think that, like you mentioned, that's a massive moment in this game.
And that third quarter where nobody scored, and then we scored that touchdown in the fourth quarter, and you could see the panic on Florida State. Could you not? I mean, all of a sudden, DJ's trying to throw passes longer than he's been throwing all game long, and he's not being successful. And the defense was just lights out. I mean, compared to last year where we would have probably, folded at the critical moment, I think this year, Tyler, Santucci's defense just gave those guys enough confidence to play fast and not get rattled.
No, I agree with you. And I think the biggest thing is you saw a maturity level from this team. You saw a maturity level from this group in general that kind of showed you that, hey, it isn't the same group, even though a lot of the same players are there. You know what I mean? Like there's some new players, but this is a lot of development, both mentally and physically for these guys. That makes the big difference. So, no, man, I was impressed. I think it was really awesome to see. I wanted to get this question to you because I've been asking this to all the callers. Is this something where you say, okay, we've won game one now. What does that change the expectation for you? Or do you just want to enjoy this win and kind of move into next week and say, hey, it's a brand new week. We got to take care of business at home against Georgia State?
Well, hell yeah, it changes the expectation. Florida State came in here as a top 10 team. I mean, they were one of the teams that was being talked about for the football playoff last year. Yeah, it changes my expectations because it says, wait, we're big time now. We can play with anybody. I mean, it does change my expectations, and I really think Brent Key is the real deal. Like the other caller said earlier, I mean, he's the guy for Georgia Tech, and I'm just so glad we got away from the clown school, that we were there before. So good to hear it, man. You're doing a great job, Bryce. Appreciate it, and keep up the good work, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. We hope to hear from you next week when we preview this Georgia State game.
Absolutely, man.
You get a good one. All right, continuing on the phone lines here. Make sure you check out Section 103, by the way. They're a fantastic sponsor, best Georgia Tech gear on the market. Let's open up this phone call. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, yeah, my name is Lucas. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, but class of 2013.
Lucas, how does it feel to be kind of close? There might be some Florida State fans around you, and maybe you get to go into work tomorrow and maybe, well, not tomorrow, but you get to go into work on Monday with that white and gold on.
Well, I tell you, I was sitting in just at a sports bar surrounded by Florida State fans, and thankfully reasonable enough people that are willing to sit there and take a look at a good game and shake each other's hands afterwards. But I mean, I tell you, after the fact, it's a great game. I was happy to see the outcome for sure. But I mean, I'm a realist. Came into this game saying I expect that it's going to be close. I expect that the team's going to show some improvement, but I didn't come in here expecting a win. Just expected to see a good fight, and came out with better than expectations at the end of the day, and can be more than proud of the team and what they showed today.
No, I like it, and I'll ask you this. I've asked every single caller, have the goalposts moved on your expectations for this season? What does this do? Do you feel like this is a team that needs or has to make it to Charlotte?
So, I mean, I'll tell you this, Bryce. I've been watching the show for the better part of this year, but haven't been super vocal. I've been saying the whole time that this team has the ability to win every single game that they've got this year, but we can't put it on a pedestal. We can't sit here and say that, you know, they're going to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
I think that after showcasing what the improvements look like today, very solid chance that we're in the championship game. I don't want to say it's guaranteed. Nobody can do that, but I think, you know, I fully still expect to see Florida State there, to be perfectly honest. I think we might see a rematch by the end of the year. If they can keep this level of consistency and I put a comment in there, earlier that everybody did their job today. Nobody really needed to stand out, but everybody did what they needed to do.
Yeah.
If they can keep that up through the whole year, we'll see the same game at the end of the year, and everybody will be happy to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. To a point, I don't want to. And Brent Key's going to say this at his press conference. Probably said it post game, and he's probably going to say it, when they get back to Atlanta, and the Atlanta media that didn't make it gets to go. It's probably going to be a case of, hey, we're taking it week by week, which is what you want your head coach to say. But from a fan's perspective, from our perspective in the media, look, I mean, I agree with you. Like, if they won this game, and I said this in the Thursday preview show, I didn't think they were going to win, but man, I'm pumped that they did. Now that you have, you're not going to. You're not going to surprise anybody. Okay, you just won as the biggest game on the national stage. So Georgia State rolls in. Okay, whatever. VMI, okay, whatever. But when you go to Syracuse knows who you are now. When you go to Louisville, like, that's a big time game. So you're not sneaking up on anybody when you do this. My biggest thing, and here it is, and I'll let you go after this, and I want to get your thoughts. The biggest thing is, how do you handle the success of week 0? You know what I mean? Like, it's a team that has not consistently won a lot over the past couple of years. So when they start to win and you start to become the expectation, how do you handle that? And I'll say this. I think Brent Key's got the right mindset to instill into this team of how to handle it, but I think that's going to be a big storyline. How do you handle that over the course of the season?
Yeah, as somebody that's been watching the team since, I mean, my peak's been 2009 onward. So, height of CPJ, it's ups and downs the whole time, and this team's going to do nothing but give you hope. And if you're lucky, they follow through. You might get them dashed, but fans that have been following Georgia Tech the whole time kind of know that feeling. This is one where I think the hope is starting early, but I think we have a lot of trust that the follow through is there.
Yeah.
Last 4 years, or prior to Key taking over, the hope was there. The follow through wasn't, and I think we can all pretty much agree on that top to bottom. I think this, we saw last year, we saw what the start could look like. This year, it's the first game, week 0. I get it. I'm not going to put all the eggs in the basket right now, but this is a very promising start to say, hey, look, we might be on the way back up. And I'm going to put a lot of hope in this team, a lot of hope in our coaches and our players this year to say, hey, look, we're going to showcase the people that we're back.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think just from a standpoint of not just proving to yourself, but proving to the world that, hey, this is a program that's not one of the bottom feeders. I mean, it's just crazy. The turnaround that Brent Key has managed and the expectation of what these young kids have going into this game. It's why they play the game and we don't. We just sit here and talk about it. So I love it. Hey, man, appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much. We're going to catch you hopefully here in the future on the phone lines when we open it up and we preview Georgia State next week, man. But you have a great rest of your evening.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Another caller might be in Atlanta area code. Let's walk and talk here. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Bryce. This is Nico from Sandy Springs. I called last year before Brent's full first year.
Well, Nico, I appreciate you, brother. I believe you're in the Discord as well, so we've talked a little bit over there.
Yes, sir.
Man, I've asked this question just about every single caller, but what's your feeling? Like, what's the level of excitement now? I know it was already up there. People were pumped, but after a win like this, just a kick off after 7-8 months of not playing football, it's got to feel good.
Yeah, baby. James Brown. I feel good. Nah. No, for real though. Like, it was unreal. I was with a couple of people over at Mutation in Sandy Springs, and it was. I got a couple notes here. I think the biggest thing towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter, we were all nervous, like, not again, but really it was like, we're actually in this. And as nervous as we felt, and maybe the team felt, what was cool was that FSU, I think, was, way more nervous. And that's something new that, I've just never really seen before, being a Tex fan for over 20 years. We were definitely lucky. There were a couple 2 near turnovers, which helped. And some of those drives were just total Paul Johnson, which was super awesome to see. The O-line was awesome. Santucci had those guys ready. And that last caller that mentioned the follow through, you definitely felt that. Like, when it was end of that fourth quarter and Tex got to make a drive down, and make something happen, you had this feeling in the back of your mind, like, okay, I actually feel okay about this, rather than in years past where you kind of just doubted.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you there, Nico. I agree with it. Hey, Nico, I appreciate the time, man. We're going to keep moving on because we got to wrap this up and get the rest of these callers in. But thanks so much, and we'll stay talking to you.
Right on, Bryce. To hell with Georgia.
Over 99 missed calls. We've got 9 voicemails, and we've got almost 600 people watching this show live. Hey, we appreciate it. What a better time. Look, I'll tell you this. Remember, don't forget content when this gets good. All right, let's rock and roll here. We've got another caller on the line. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Gavin Hart from Columbus, Georgia.
Hang up on him, please, guys.
I hung up. We're not listening to that. We know what's happening with that. Whoever I dismissed the call of to answer that phone call, he just texted me, said, bro. Oh, baby. I know who this is. Hit that like button, subscribe. I know who this is. I know who this is, too. Hello?
Yo.
What's the name, my brother?
Matt Brook for Scythe, Georgia.
Matt, how are you doing? Been a long time.
Oh, I'm a little intoxicated.
How you feeling?
I feel like we got disrespected, and we woke up, and Brent Key got in the locker room and said, look, guys, they don't like y'all. They think you're going to lose, and we put our foot in their ass, and that's just the end of that's it. That's what we did.
I mean, look, to your point, there's not many ways to cut this game up in the fact that Georgia Tech just beat them, just flat out beat them. Nothing super special, nothing flashy. Just went out there and played 60 minutes of football and beat them.
And I think if you were to take all of our games last year, every game that we played, offensively, this is the worst game we played in the passing game that you've seen out of 13 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, minus the interceptions.
We ran the ball down their throat, and we didn't give them a chance to even look up. We just kept pounding it. When we would go inside and they would stop us, we'd pop it outside and get 6 to 7 and go right up their ass again. I mean, that you can't ask for anything better from a ACC non-contending ACC champion team. That they don't even want us to be. Nobody picked this college game day. Nobody wanted us there, and we came out here and beat the team they were picking to win the ACC by 3. Whatever. I mean, you can take that for what it is. But first week of the year, and we came out and did that. Big hopes. Big hopes for the guys.
Matt, let me say this. Don't sell yourself short. You went out there and beat them. You went toe-to-toe with a team that was perceived as one of the best in the country, and they were top 10, one of the best 10 teams in the country, and you dictated what happened in that game. Like, I said this.
Right.
I said this, when we previewed this game. I said, if Georgia Tech's going to win, they may have to get into a track meet, because I know people were maybe higher on the defense coming out of fall camp. And Matt, maybe for me, I'm a you got to make me see it, and then I'll believe it type of thing. And that's just a different levels of how we see things. But man, this defense was nuts. Like, they answered every single question, Matt, that I posed last week. And I got ripped apart. I got torn apart by this, by saying you don't believe all these things. Every single question that I proposed was a valid one. But I also can sit here 2 hours after the game's over and tell you they answered it resoundingly. Resoundingly, they told me, yeah, they're ready. This isn't the same group. They're way better. The internal development's there.
And I think I saw maybe 2, maybe 3 passes over 20 yards that wasn't caught. One was a pass interference. One was out of bounds. But we played defense. We instead of leaning on the offense, we actually played defense. Now, the 4th downs that they converted to 4th downs, he's not a bad quarterback. DJ isn't.
They just made plays.
Overall, when you stack the team side by side, they're a better team. I think we outcoached them, and I will die on that hill. We outcoached them, and nobody's going to talk about that.
No, you're right. That's a very valid point, Matt. You outcoached them. You just were able to execute. And whether that's Buster Faulkner dialing something up, whether that is someone else dialing something up, you made the plays and they didn't. Now, like you said, they're still a good football team. This isn't just a ragtag bunch of, and I'll get to that comment in just a second. This isn't just a ragtag bunch of randos that you just beat. You beat a good football team, but here's the difference. Like you said, you out-schemed them, you out-coached them, and you out-executed, and that's what led to being in the position to win there at the end of the football game.
Right, and this was, if you ask me, this was a road game. Hearing the Noles chant,
every play,
which I call the Braves chop, not the Noles chop, the Braves chop. They answered the question, and I think everybody should just sit back. I wouldn't get too high, I wouldn't get too low. We won the game, quite frankly, Kamala. But we won the game, and I think our biggest test will be Syracuse. And if we can beat Syracuse at home in that stadium that's going to be packed, I think Louisville will have a hard time handling us.
Man, that game in Louisville is going to be nuts. Like, if you can navigate yourself to an undefeated record going up there, and I'm not sleeping on Syracuse. I think they've got some talent, but I do agree with your point, man. And we're going to talk about this next week. Let's have fun today. Let's enjoy this. This fan base needs this. I don't care how high you get today in terms of your excitement level. Enjoy this. This is a monumental win for Brent Key in the Georgia Tech era. But what I will say here is that Brent Key is cut from that same Saban, O'Leary cloth. As soon as they go to sleep tonight and they wake up and they're back in Atlanta, whenever they get there, it's Georgia State. It's that's where the focus is. And fans can have fun with this type of conversation, and we can on this show, but I guarantee you that group understands, hey, this is a week-by-week thing, because if anybody knows what it's like to be beaten be on the highest of highs one week and the lowest of lows, it's this team in this program at times.
Right. I wouldn't take next week if we win, great. Even if it's by 1 point. I wouldn't take it being 56-17 or 21-17.
Yeah.
As long as you win next week, I feel like that's a positive. I wouldn't take the score. I wouldn't lean on that too much. I would just take a win
and move along.
Get the hell out of there.
Yes.
I wouldn't think much into that.
I agree with you, man. Win and move on. Win and advance. That's what this game has become. And if you can be one of the final 12 standing at the end of the season, maybe you've punched your ticket. Before I get you out of here, man, are you gonna be at the game next week?
Yeah. I'll be there. I actually have a question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
Ask some questions. So if all things said and done, we end up. With this win, I had a 7-5, 6-6 with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Making a bowl going with this win. I mean, 9-3. Could we creep in with a Florida State win, a Syracuse win, and a close game against Notre Dame and Georgia? Could we creep into a playoff contender like number 15? Do you think that's possible?
I think you could be in the conversation. Now, obviously, we're not talking about an ACC title berth. You know, like you could be 8-4 and maybe still win the ACC and get in. You know, in that situation. But to your point, if you're not, if let's say you're the third best team in the ACC, okay, like let's say that maybe it's Miami and Clemson are in it, and you're sitting there at number 3, FSU's 4, whatever it is. To me, you're probably going to have to beat Notre Dame. You're going to have to beat NC State. You're going to have to beat Louisville. And the problem is once you win those games, the losses, there's not really a good loss. Let's say you lose close to Georgia and Athens. That's going to be respected by the committee. But after that, where are you losing? Where it's like, okay, that's okay. At Syracuse, okay, maybe at North Carolina, close. I don't know. Now, I will say, I think with this win, the conversation changes because Matt, my preseason prediction was 7-5, and I believe 5-3 in the conference. But 7-5 in overall. Now you unlock a 8-4, 9-3. Now look, you could roll into Louisville undefeated. Now we're talking 9 or maybe 10 wins because now you've reset the ceiling, at least in my opinion, of what you can accomplish. Because week 0 was such a big week.
All right. Now, so with a Florida State win, was the 7-5 with a Florida State win, or was that with a close loss?
I had a close loss at 7-5, so I'm saying now so I'm probably going 8-4, 9-3.
Right, I think 8-4, and you beat Syracuse and you beat Louisville and you went out besides Notre Dame and Georgia. I think you're there. To me, I don't see a way where you're not there if you beat everybody else except Notre Dame and Georgia.
You're talking about a 10. You're talking about a 10-2 team.
I don't see why you're not there.
You're saying a 10-2 team. Is that what you're asking me? 10-2 with losses to Notre Dame?
With what I saw today, everything. What you have to remember: first game, everybody's nervous. There's things that aren't clicking. Everybody knows this. Everybody's talked about it. I'm saying that if you beat everybody you're supposed to beat, you lose to Notre Dame in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium by a touchdown. Okay, that's granted. And then you lose to the best team in the country, Georgia. You're there. I mean, you're in the ACC championship. You lose that, you're still there.
Oh yeah. In that scenario, yes. I'm sorry. I was trying to understand specifically. No, I think you're in. I think you're in as probably the 11th team. Like you're on that. You may be on the bubble depending on what happens elsewhere, but 10 or 11, I think you're in.
Yeah, I think the game on the schedule is going to be that Miami game, and that's going to be the make or break. The Miami game is where I'm looking at. And I'm like, okay, if we're doing what we're doing, defense is getting better every week. Offense is still moving the ball like they should be. The Miami game is going to be the make or break. That's where we're going to lose or win the season is the Miami game.
I got you. Hey, brother, I'm going to move on because we got a couple more callers before we get off here. But, hey, it was good to hear from you, Matt. I hope I see you out there next weekend.
Yeah, you're not going to have a caller like me, so good luck.
Appreciate you, brother. All right, just a couple more phone calls here before we close it off for the day. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian's going on, man.
Oh, what was that?
Brian, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's going on? Is Justin Klingel drippy?
Oh, it's drippy. It's Justin. Justin, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How you doing, man?
You know, I am. I'm enjoying it. It's good stuff.
That's all right, man. How you feel about eating your words?
Which ones? Which ones?
I couldn't even tell you, man. I haven't been a big viewer of the show lately, so.
I got you. I understand.
But I do know you picked Florida State to win.
I did.
Which is a safe that Florida State's a good team. Georgia Tech's not a good team. That was an insane game, dude. Good game.
No, this is what I'm saying. I don't think we ever said Georgia Tech wasn't a good team. I think it was we thought Florida State was better, and Georgia Tech answered. Like I said,
no, I agree. I don't think Georgia Tech's a good team.
You don't think Georgia Tech is a good team?
I don't think Tech's a good team.
I'm sorry, what?
Personally, I do not think Tech is a good team. I think they have the ability to be a good team, but until this week, I didn't think they were a good team.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I got you. I'm following you now.
But hey, it was a great game. 3-point game. I said a few times in the chat, if Tech doesn't cover, they're going to win. Or if Tech covers, they're going to win. If Tech doesn't cover, it's going to be a blowout. So good to see that. It was a good game. DJU sucks. We all knew that.
Yep.
But it was a good game. 3-point game. Surprised that it came down to a field goal. I thought it'd come down to a touchdown. But it's a great game.
It was. Justin, I appreciate you, brother. I got 4 more callers I got to get to before I close this up.
Yeah, you get to it, man. I appreciate all you do.
Yes, sir, brother. All right. Before I'm going to open this phone line, but before I talk to you real quick, I wanted to get to this. People, I think the same crew keeps asking me where I got this hat. I will send this to you where we got this. I'll put it in the where you join that. But it's a great stuff. All right, let's get to this phone call that I think we're on right now. Here we go. All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Jonathan. I'm calling from Atlanta, GA. I appreciate you holding it down for Tech. You've been doing a good job. I tune in when I can. But what a game. What a game. We gave it to the pundits that we're not here to play around anymore. We're taking that mentality at Georgia Tech was, nobody picked us but Seamus, a wrestler. He picked us out of everybody on that stage. Everybody's talking about Clemson and FSU. But FSU, when we went down and scored that touchdown at the beginning of the game, you could tell this ain't the same Tech. In FSU, if you look at the track record, FSU doesn't beat Tech since Paul Johnson took over. And there ain't been no walk in the park. So I don't know why people were surprised. Then we beat them with Jeff Collins. So what in the world are people thinking about? We beat them with Jeff Collins. So I don't know this powerhouse FSU team. No, this is not back in the day. This is in University of Miami, Florida State, 1990s. My mentality is just like Al Davis. Just win, baby. Just win. We're taking one game at a time.
And you know what, Jonathan? That's what I said. Like, regardless if this is a pretty win or not, just get back to Atlanta with a dub. No one cares. Because
exactly.
no one cares what it looks like. Just get into the big dance at the end of the year, and then let's see what happens.
So we all see Georgia Tech go to the third quarter halls where they let teams back in the game. But in the beginning of that fourth quarter, they scored that touchdown. That's when the mentality shifts. Now the pressure's back on FSU. An unproven team. You got to remember, this is preseason. We don't have preseason college football games.
Yep.
So this is a game you got to work out the kinks. Just imagine if Haynes King would have hit Singleton for that touchdown. He was wide open. The refs was kind of, it was a pretty much clean game. They called some penalties. That pass interference call, that wasn't a catchable pass. I don't know why they called that. They gave them an opportunity to score. But it was kind of like, okay, is Vegas trying to keep these guys keep the point spread close so they could cover? But I'm glad that Tech came in and represented. I mean, we owe Dabo, we owe the Crime Dogs, we owe Kirby and the Crime Dogs something at the end of the year. So it's a lot of people that's going to be on the list, and we owe Mr. Collins something up in North Carolina. We didn't forget about you yet, Mr. Collins.
Well,
we owe you something too.
You get to play. You get to go up there later this season, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully, I hope he isn't carried by that year because they got to win now because Mac Brown ain't getting no younger, So we take this win, we go back, we handle business against Georgia State, and then we go to this schedule. I was like, my God, but you know what? Don't be scared. Take the mentality that we can win these games. They're not playing. We're not playing them. They're coming to play Georgia Tech, and that's the mentality you got to take. Make a brand. Well, not make a brand, but make your own. Make this team scared. Like Nick Saban, he wanted to pick us, but he was going to roll with everybody else. But Nick Saban knows what's going down. We're getting recruits. hey, we just need another wide receiver, and this team is and a quarterback, and we're gonna be a dangerous team. I don't.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jonathan. Hey, man, I got some more callers going to get to before we get out of here. I appreciate you, man. Stay tuned to the channel. Share with your friends because, man, I don't feel like this is the only time we're going to be having fun like this at a Georgia Tech game.
Oh, will do. Appreciate you taking my call. Have a good one, man.
You too. All right, man. This has been a lot of fun. A ton of fun. We're still live. We've been live for like 4.5 hours. Did the watch party, and now we're into the post game portion of the show. I cannot thank y'all enough. Over 620 people watching this live, and man, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool just from a standpoint of, and I want to say this real quick before we get out of here. It's pretty cool from the sense of we've been doing this show since 2021, I believe. Really kind of dove into it in 2022. But this is the fun part of it. Like, you get to talk about games like this. And we've had moments, we've had different, frustrations that we've had on this show. But at the end of the day, I think everybody here wants that common thing. We want to see this program continue to grow, continue to strive to what we think they can be. So man, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a ton of fun. And I can't wait. Really wanted to say this right here, and this is we will get out of here with this. Next Saturday, I will tell you a couple things. One, you need to show up next Saturday. This team just went 3,000 miles away and knocked off a top 10 team. You need to show up next Saturday. Next Saturday is imperative of what you want to see. Love the way that this group ignored the noise and didn't really care about it, and that it's such an insulated thing. And Brent Key talked about that. So this is fun. This is a lot of fun. And so obviously next Saturday we will be on the 5th Street Bridge tailgating. It's going to be a ton of fun. We want you to come join us. And man, we just want you to come hang out. We're going to be doing a live show, me and the whole crew. We're going to be at the game. We're going to be doing some giveaways, koozies, T-shirts, all the whole 9 yards. We got tickets we're going to be giving away to the Georgia State, Georgia Tech game. So look, invite your friends. I mean, this needs to be a game where there's some pride coming home, excitement around this program. The team did their part. Okay, so now it's time for the fan base to really rally behind that. But, man, this is a lot of fun. My name is Bryce Kuhn. Great job from Ralph Leary and Will Manus today to kind of carry us through what has been an unreal day of college football. It's week 0. I mean, if you thought we were this excited about week 0, you don't have a clue. A lot of people watching over on X, almost 400 people watching over there. And, look. Head over, follow us on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be live once again Monday night talking about this game, and I really, really think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're not going to take calls, but we're going to kind of recap this game, and then we roll into week 1 of college football. And like I said, next Saturday, 2 o'clock on the 5th Street Bridge. Stay tuned to our socials, and you will see all the information you need. Come hang out with us. We're going to have a little bit of food, but if you want to bring your own food, bring your own drinks, you're more than welcome to do that as well. My name is Bryce Kuhn. Ralph Leary and Will Manus did a fantastic job, and I cannot think enough. When we got all these people in here, let's make sure that we are shouting out the people who really help us make this happen. It's Section 103. Look, if you want to now support Georgia Tech, and maybe you're kind of the fair weather fan, you didn't know what to do, hop on the Section 103 bandwagon. You can use code CROWDEDBOOTH, all caps, for 10% off your first order today. You need to make it happen. Great gear for all times of the year. They do a fantastic job, and they are the presenting sponsor of our Georgia Tech talk show here on the Crowded Booth, where we talk a lot of different things, college football, but I host our Georgia Tech show, and man, it has been a blast. Over 620 people watching live. Hit that sub button, like the video, share with your friends and family. And look, folks, you're going to see a lot of Georgia Tech talk. You're going to see a lot of content coming out of the woodworks. Don't forget where we've been talking about this for a long time. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. All the calls were great. It's so much fun to hear from all of you. And we will catch you next time here on Swarm Talk post-game reaction. Georgia Tech beats Florida State, stuns them in a big, big win, 24-21 over in Dublin, Ireland. We'll catch you next time.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Coon.